So when my experience has been is when everybody's saying that we're no longer in a bear, we might still be in a bear. But I think we're past the bottoms. I think that doesn't mean we won't see a drop, right?
Y-
Some sort of spike down or wick down. It may even last a few weeks or days, right? Um, you just don't know because it's crypto and it's volatile. But usually when everybody gets really hyped up, and I'm seeing this on all the channels that I follow, everyone's saying the same thing. Oh, we're out. It's the bull. It's the bull. And I'm like, hmm. So just be wary. Don't buy into the FOMO. I mean, make a plan long term. But
it's interesting because a lot of people think like we haven't reached max pain and we have more downside. More people need to be wiped out, and I think a lot of these people are not equipped with the proper clarity because they're in the niche. So like
yeah,
to them, there's like crypto's still like going on and happening. But I yesterday, somebody at a family gathering is like, so what do you do for a living? And I'm like
uh,
trying to make up like a palatable. I'm like, I'm a financial analyst, kind of thing. Like,
well,
and then he's like, what kind of analyst? I'm like, cryptocurrency. And like
yeah.
you could see it in his face, and that showed me that we are. It's looking bad, guys. I don't know if it could get that much worse, but what do you think?
Well, you might. I'm not telling you what to do, but when I talk about things like that, I usually lean towards coaching. You got a lot of experience now, a lot of information. Yes, maybe you only got 3, 4, or 5 years involved. I don't recall exactly how long you've been involved, but you certainly qualify to share your experience.
What kind of coaching though?
Cryptocurrency coaching.
Exactly. And then
Uh,
it's like, oh, one of those guys.
Hey, well, we all have that. I mean, I know, a lot of people that I know, they have no clue, right? They think that this is what they think. They think that I trade Bitcoin. That's what they think. It doesn't matter how, only those who really cared to dig in deeper um, can begin to understand because from the outside, people look at things like traders and they think that's what people do with stocks. They trade them. They totally gloss over value investing. Now, of course, we know that Buffett and companies not really high on crypto, but they totally gloss over the fact that people buy things for the 5, 10, 15-year time frames. And same thing with crypto. So you talk about crypto, what do they think? Most people that don't know much, right? And so they're
FTX
gonna they're gonna say Bitcoin.
or
Oh,
FTX.
you must be trading it. And I just saw the last FUD that's usually trailing, like days, if not weeks behind or completely inaccurate. So yeah, I could see them.
Yeah, but just to remind people of like how bad things are and compared to how bad things seem like they are, and they seem like they could get a lot worse. I'm not sure it could get much worse in terms of sentiment, which is a good thing. In a way, it's a good thing in terms of future price performance, but it's not a good thing in terms of sitting at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Uh, but yeah, that's really that. And I guess with that all done, we could get into the Bitcoin chart. Is this the Bitcoin chart, or this might be the Hex chart? Yeah, this is the Bitcoin chart. We're on the 4 hour, 23,622. I drew this line of resistance over here. Looks like it kind of acted as a resistance. But what are your thoughts on the Bitcoin chart, Crispy Man?
Well, I I don't look just at Bitcoin because I'm not in Bitcoin at all, but I mean, I'm in HEX and of course ETH to some extent because I need to have gas. Um, but so I look at the three of them together. All three of them right now are centered around their 350-day moving averages.
You want to pull up the charts? I think your charts would maybe be better than my charts.
All right, let me pull this guy up.
All right.
I gotta go on my other screen to do that because I have my indicators on that one. Doo-doo. let's see. I'll show you what I'm talking about, and I don't have any particular like foresight into this stuff, right? I mean, I just know what I'm seeing, and I follow certain things, and I follow those because in the past it's shown me what has happened. It was, it's usually like a lot of indicators, a lot of things that we see. It's always trailing. You're always seeing what happened in the past, and I can't go back in time, right?
Hmm.
So there's that. Let me know if you guys can see this one, all right? If you want to share it up.
I think it's shared.
All right. Okay. So same chart, right? Just slightly different. I'm on the day time frame. I'm using Bitstamp as my numbers, and you can see, yeah, we got kind of like a little mini Bart Simpson type pattern, as they call it, and we're all waiting to see what's going to happen next, right? In the next couple of days. When we look at our next couple of days, next couple of weeks, really. I try to get this thing open over here. So if I go look at my ETH, you'll see the same pattern, right?
Hmm.
It's almost the same pattern, which just speaks to how correlated things can be sometimes. And then we go over to HEX. It is definitely not looking like the same chart, right? But I know that all three of these are really tied together, right? So what year did you come into crypto and start looking at this seriously?
Probably 2018,
All right, so
19.
maybe I had a year ahead of you, right?
Hmm.
Um, so back then, right, when we were in the middle of that bowl, at the beginning of the bowl,
No, it was 2019. It was late 2019,
I
2020.
said it doesn't matter. It's a couple of years before, right?
Yeah.
But we were back in 2017. I was like, I don't understand, and this might maybe other people know this already, but I was like, I don't understand. Why does everything go up at the same time? This is crazy, right? Well, Hart's law is real, right? Whether you want to call it Hart's law, call it something else. And so back when, and a lot of people may not have been crypto then, um, it was even difficult at one point to get crypto for US dollars, right? And so they finally made the inroads to get to the point where you could get Bitcoin. But then the only time you could get Ethereum was if somehow you swapped Bitcoin for Ethereum,
Hmm.
right? So things were tied really closely. And then and there's a lot of reasons for this, but there weren't a lot of market makers making a market between Bitcoin and ERC20s, right? So you basically had this daisy chain of Bitcoin to Ethereum to altcoins. So yes, if Bitcoin went up, Ethereum went up. And if Ethereum went up, all the altcoins went up. And I usually, when I describe this, I'll try to visualize it this way for people. Get a rope, get a rope, tie three knots in it, right? Hold one end of the rope and wave it up and down, wave it up and down. Bitcoin's the knot that's closest to you. Ethereum was the second knot, and the altcoins or the ERC20s with the third knot. And so when you went up, Bitcoin would go up, but Ethereum would go up higher, and the altcoins would lag, but they'd go up higher. They'd go even higher than Ethereum. Not all of them, but just kind of in general, right? And then you go back down, same type of thing. Bitcoin would go down, Ethereum would go down with it, it'd go down a little bit more, and all the altcoins would hit the bottom, right? And bounce up. Because you have this kind of wave motion, right? So when I talk about looking at the three of these together, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how, just how sticky they are now. Now, what's happened though is now we're 5 years past that time. There are more and more avenues to get into the systems, right? There's more centralized exchanges. There weren't DEXs back then, so now you have all these DEXs, and you have the ability now for people just to on ramp directly into, their crypto, whether it's through a SEX or something else, right? So some of this is now decorrelating further. And I know there's a big argument about what correlation means, and I'm not the right guy to talk about that. But I just see that the numbers don't always shift together as much as they used to. But clearly, you can see that Ethereum, same pattern as Bitcoin, swapping back and forth, right?
Mhm.
So the other thing that I look at, and I had discovered this, there's a brilliant article by a guy by the name of Philip Swift, which you can find on the internet, old Medium post from back in 2018. And what he had put together was something called the golden ratio, all right, type of indicator, and a lot of people do this. It's based on Fibonacci. And what that is, and I know there's all sorts of lines on the screen now, but what that is comparing moving averages that have some connection to Fibonacci numbers, right? And just using these different levels as points that you can either expect resistance or if you punch through to be support. And so when you ask about how the price is doing right now, and I go in and look really closely, I can see on Bitcoin, this is the 350-day moving average. We're just below it. We keep testing it. We're trying to punch through, right? We haven't quite gotten there yet. Same thing on ETH, right? ETH trying to punch through. HEX, we punched through, right? And now it's acting as resistance. You can see it down here at the bottom. I don't know
A
if that's big.
support.
Yeah, excuse me, a support. So those are the types of things I'm looking at, and it's somewhat immaterial to me as to what happens exactly, because I know that the days are going to pass, and eventually the cycle will cycle up if it's like in the past, right? And you can't even guarantee that, but that's what we think, right? Is that I think that it'll probably do what it's done in the past. But passing this 350-day average and maintaining and not breaking back below that will be a big deal. And so I will be more bullish once both Ethereum and Bitcoin pass their 350s, and bearish if they don't, right? So right now, I mean, it's tried, I don't know, Bitcoin. I see if I can, I'm not really good with this chart. Let me take my auto off. Let's look at that. This is the HEX. You can see we're just below it right now, just dropped below it. And so I would be looking for it to regain. But if we go look at Bitcoin, we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times it's hit that line and didn't make it through. And this is a day chart, so in 6 days, right? And the same thing with Ethereum, really close, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days that it hit that. I don't know, 60-40, 65-35, probably a very good chance we'll see a big dip and then let that play out, some accumulation, and then move on, because you can't forget that these are markets, and the way markets work is wash, rinse, repeat. And you're part of that cycle. You're in the cycle, right? So if you let your emotions run with it, you'll see the price go up and buy, and when it drops, you'll sell, and that will continue until people stop selling. It's just how it works, or they stop buying, right? One or the other, and then it affects the other side.
So you're saying 65-35 that we get rejected for Bitcoin?
Sure, but that's as close as a guess as any, man. And it's
And
purely a guess.
do we go to 11K and pray off the rejection?
Well, that's one of the scenarios, right? And I'm not super committed to those numbers, percentage wise. It's just that I recognize that it can happen, right? So if it happens, I'm not going to be crying about it, because I know that it could happen.
I say no. I say no.
Well, and there's some supporting information for that. So you tell me why you say no.
Well, the supporting information is me not being proud of my job to, regular people. I think
Well,
that's
that's
very
well,
supporting information. And every time I say cryptocurrency, I get the FTX. I don't think it's going to 11K. Is that good supporting information?
yeah, well, but it could, right? What 11K is what 60% drop.
Yeah, but that's like another FTX. It's like 2 Mount Goxes in one bear market. It's a little crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I'll never say never though. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we would have thought, and I see everything is energy is on here, right? And he's talking about the inverse head and shoulders, which you can see up here, which would mean, yeah, if that plays out and stays true, you probably see it go up. But let's take one quick look. I'm not trying to FUD. I'm just saying that I don't know what's really going to happen.
Nobody knows.
But let's go take a look and see what happened in the last time we were around this kind of an area. Um, we back in 2019, we tested that line, right? We made it through, and we were into strong accumulation. Kind of called it sideways action, but it was pretty fun to get up here to in July of 19 up to what 12, 13,000. I think it went all the way to 14
Mhm.
at the time. But and this is what I mean, time frames, it played out. We came back and retested that. There was a possibility to go down, but then we had that big COVID dip. Now, are we going to have another COVID dip? I don't know. I don't know.
But that was the bottom, though. That was the bottom, the first one.
Yeah, that was the bottom.
So the bottom could still be in.
The bottom can be in, and
So
you
we could go to
still
like
have
45, 50, and then drop back down to 20,
yeah
19.
because
That's still
because
bottom.
what this bottom I don't have the exact numbers, guys, but this bottom was right around 3,100 or so, and sure enough, we whipped all the way back down to 37 ish, 39. So maybe there were some local numbers that were different. Anyways, I think what all it's saying to me is the more days that pass, and this is my argument I'd make about why we're there, is that enough time has passed that we can be into the next levels of the market. And I'm not a real TA guy, so don't listen to anything I have to say. I just know that this is what I'm looking for. So I will grab more confidence once we break through that and we're going up.
Okay. And
So,
what about HEX? What do you think of the HEX chart? And with regards to where we are in terms of bottoms, tops, we could pull that up.
um, yeah, I'm not sure what you mean. I mean, my thoughts on this, like, obviously, has been a phenomenal run. I mean,
Yeah.
that's nearly vertical. I'm still learning a lot of stuff. I'm trying to pay as much attention as I can to access to some of these other folks about what all this means, because people ask me questions. I want to try to sound educated and at least understand myself better, because I'm more of a hodler. Almost, I'm 100% hodler, right? Maybe 99% if you don't count some of the stupid things that I did, or if you do count them. So I'm not trading. I'm not buying anything. I'm not trying to swing high and swing low or anything like that. So I like that this went up, and then I understand that our liquidity is very low, and it would not take very very many people to come in and eat up what liquidity is out there. And I mean, geez, I'll look at that real quick while we're here, because I hadn't looked. If it happens, I get working too much on stuff. So the HEX liquidity, it's up a little bit. It's up at 97 million. So there's only 97 million that can be purchased right now on the markets. I mean, that might change in 5 minutes, but that it's been relatively low. I mean, under 100 is fairly low.
So someone could step in with a nice buy, and it could go up a lot.
Yeah, because the total liquidity, as I understand it, right, isn't really the true. It's kind of a gross measure. It really has to do with where people have put their liquidity in the bands, and if there's so you end up in these spots. I was watching a shout out to Randy Hilarski and Axis, but I was watching their video from last night.
Oh, I was watching that. It was very good.
Yeah, it was very good.
And then he went on to we did a thing afterwards with this other channel. It was
Oh yeah, I heard you guys were doing that. I didn't look. Was that Hilarski went with you, or
yeah, Hilarski
yeah.
and Seek 5555 and Freddie Quotes
Oh, that would have been fun. Freddie's cool.
and Funding Jim.
Oh yeah, and Gary too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that one up. I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, so I know I'm sorry, I'm not super exciting for the trading guys, right? Because as I'm just like, yep, anytime now is going to be a great buy at 20x or 50x or 100x, whatever it goes, wherever things go. Um, and that probably could be said for a lot of the different coins or tokens that will have longevity, right?
Mhm.
There's certainly going to be some stinkers out there, but
Okay, but is the bottom in?
maybe. I mean, maybe.
We need an answer.
I I don't have it. I mean, you asked me last time we talked the same type of
Yeah, but
question. Is
things
it in?
change. Things you
Yeah.
there's an update v3 private testnet. Things could
Oh,
change.
well, listen, I don't think I'm going to get 1.7 again. So yeah, I think the bottom is in.
There
I
you
didn't
go.
even, here's the thing about all that stuff too, is I watched it go to 1.7, right? Did you see it go to 1.7?
Oh, absolutely. And I saw Matty Allen tweeted that he bought some hex at 1.7, and I refrained because I wanted to
Yeah.
keep to my dollar cost
Well,
average schedule. But
that
I,
that's
I
what I,
got it like 1.9. So
that's what I was going to ask you, right? Is whether you bought. I didn't buy any here,
yeah.
right? And uh, there's reasons for that. Everybody has their reasons, but you know, yeah, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens. You get left behind. But I don't feel bad about buying at 2.5, because I didn't know. And it has to do with, spreading my risk and how I was DCAing, but I don't know that it's not going to go down again. Because I never know until afterwards that it's happened. Um, and I wasn't in a position where I needed to DCA. I was keeping a bag, of dry powder in case we really did go to a one or
Hmm.
below a one, because I want to be prepared to support that and protect. But yeah, I don't think we're going back down there again.
Yeah, I'd agree. And looking back, it seems so obvious that it wasn't going to send because like everybody wanted it, and usually people don't get what they want in markets.
Isn't it always obvious though afterwards?
Exactly. Exactly.
But unless you get the time machine, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and that's why Maddie has done so well. He's got the DeLorean. He's got the DeLorean.
Oh yeah, he's going back in time. That's how he knows. Now, what is really interesting to me, and I've been watching, you see how this 111-day black line down here, the
Hmm.
111-day moving average, it will be quite significant for me to see it cross the 350 and come up into the 1.6 and the 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 2x of the 350, which are these other lines. Each one of those points will be points of potential, bounce, right? Either down or if it breaks through up, um, using this analysis of the golden ratios. Now, the other thing we can look at with this one is to throw on the chart for the buys. So this is you may not know him, USCG vet. He's a guy who's in our chats quite a bit, and he worked up a really nice indicator, which is kind of like a buy sell type indicator for DCA. And sure enough, this range over here, you see all these buys clustered here. It's not about the next day it'll be higher. It's about in the cycle will it be higher, right? And so you'd be doing pretty good if this is where you had started your DCA. Yes, you would have gotten some higher prices with this, August kind of high or a local high. But if you had started your DCA and were DCAing until now, you would have done very well, right?
Yeah.
Cost averaging.
Yeah. DCA, you can't beat DCA.
Yeah, and it has to be it has to be you know um, it has to be over a long enough time frame. I got distracted by RH Max in the
Yeah.
chat.
RH Max. I didn't want to mention it until you're finished, but yes, RH Max is in the chat. Uh, he's coming from his non-streaming bunker. RH Max is taking a break. He's been streaming like multiple times per day for a
I
while, and we
I
wish him
know,
the
man.
best.
He's been an animal.
He's been an animal. He's been a different being. But shout out to RH Max. Um, but yeah, so I guess, is there anything else to say about the hex price right now?
Um, no, I would just issue all the normal. I would just say all the normal stuff, guys. I know we all heard it, but it's worth repeating it. Um, put more money in than you're willing to lose because all this stuff can go to zero, right? Or
Mhm.
really make you feel like it's going to zero, and then you fudge yourself out, right? So there's that. Longer time frames are better in DCA, right?
Mhm.
Because this is crypto, and yeah, we saw it, right? You can go down 97%, right, at any time. And I'm not trying to FUD like tomorrow, I think this is going to happen, but you got to really keep that in mind and have a plan for what you're doing. You know, it should be risk adjusted for your lifestyle, and put your rent money in, that kind of thing. Make sure you're taking care of your four walls. So those are the types of things I think of when I look at this stuff.
Great points. And I just want to say, I want to congratulate everybody that's still here. Okay. I mean, it's hard to realize like how bad things have gotten, because we're in the inside and it could feel like crypto's all around us and it's such a certainty that crypto is going to come back. But that's not what it's looking like on the outside. And I really genuinely non-financially advice believe that the worst is behind us. Not saying we're going to the moon right now, and you guys are still here. So pat yourself on the back. And Crispy Man, what do you think about everybody, all the 59 people watching? Please like and subscribe. What do you think about them still being here and what that means?
I think it's pretty amazing. I've been thinking about that for myself because I have to give myself my own little affirmations, right? And cheerleading too, because I'm like, when I talk to my wife about it, like, this is really great. We would have never been able to get into this position if we were just coming in, right?
Mhm.
Because it's hard, right? And but it's delayed gratification, right? I mean, it's one of the things you have to do. I found that um, delayed gratification in life is the way you get ahead. Now, it depends what you mean by get ahead. I mean financially, from a capital perspective. There are plenty of people I know that will tell me that they have no money and they're very happy. So I'm not disputing that if that's how it is. But if I want to be financially independent, I need some sort of capital or finances. And so yeah, yeah.
Just great points. But Chad Donner Schwans, the Schwans of House Donner says, I've been laddering out of rent and groceries and
Oh
into
no,
Hex. I think his rent and groceries just dropped 97%.
maybe, maybe. Well, you can you'd be amazed what you can do. When you're talking about finances, personal finance. I've got a course up on the Patreon. It's a self-study type thing, and I've done one video, and I might do some more. Um, but honestly, the if you are trying to improve your situation, right? Yes, there's many things you can do to cut back, right? You don't have to go buy coffee that costs $5. You can make, a 50-cent cup of coffee, right? Doesn't mean once in a while you don't do that, right? You don't necessarily have to wear, brand new clothes and shoes and socks and everything, because you know what? Some of these things will last a long time, right? But there's only so much you can cut back on. So you do need to make sure you have a good, you take care of yourself, your family, good quality of life. But the way you really, really, really improve on things is by expanding your income. That's really your opportunity, right? Because you can't, there's only so many times you can cut how much you spend in half, but you can work an extra job and double, right?
Mhm.
And so if you do some things in personal finance to make sure that your four walls are covered. When I say that, I mean rent, utilities, whatever it costs you to live. And then, maybe taking a cue from some of those financial books out there, like the Richest Man in Babylon. Take 10, 20% at a minimum and invest in yourself, in one way or another, you know, get it moving, right? You can start slowly building it up. And here's the thing: is I want everybody to win, right? Um, but yeah, you're probably not going to put $100 in today and it'll be 100,000 tomorrow. But if you are able to delay gratification and do whatever saving rate you have, you might actually be able to make that $100,000 in 1,000 days, right? And I don't care who you are, $100,000 is a lot of money. Well, I guess some people it's not, but most people, everybody I know, $100,000 is a lot of money, right?